This conference will now be recorded.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
September 21. Public comments. I don't see anything on the bubble. Been looking. Nobody in the room. So, close this portion of the public comments. Move on to administrative business. Deidre's on. Let's go ahead and get that COVID update. Deidre?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, currently Marion has a total of 99 cases, out of which 63 are confirmed positive and 36 are probable. Currently 1 active case, whom is isolated and contacts have been quarantined, 0 hospitalizations. And as of Friday, the 18th, KDHE reported 941 tests, and our last report from Tabor shows they have performed 695 tests. So just to remind you, a confirmed case is defined as a person who tested positive by a PCR, and a probable case is defined as a person with a presumptive lab evidence or the antigen testing, or they can have no lab testing but meet clinical case criteria and is epi-linked to a case. That means they were a contact of a positive case. And cases are based on individual people rather than the number of tests. So if a person has multiple tests and they're like, if they're positive and have a test within 3 months and they're positive again, they won't be counted as a positive. Now, if it's past 3 months, then they count them. They would count them again. But it's still important, even though we only have 1 active case, it is important to continue to be diligent in following the actions to reduce the spread, such as stay home when you're sick, practice social distancing, thorough hand washing with soap and water or hand sanitizers, and wear a mask in public. Any questions?
Yeah, Deidre, this is Kent. I've got some questions in regard to our nursing homes.
Okay.
I understand that each nursing home has to come up with a plan for reopening, of which you would be the approving agent on.
Correct.
Has any of this? Go ahead.
Yeah, they discuss the plan, and then we provide suggestions if needed. And so, in a sense, we can't tell them what to do, but we can guide them.
So,
But they have to follow, like CMS has that, is how they get paid or reimbursed from Medicare, Medicaid. And so they have to follow those guidelines, or if they're also a part of a higher organization or a corporation, they have to follow those guidelines also.
okay, but so you're saying you don't have final approval?
We, in a sense, we do, but KDHE and health departments don't regulate them.
Okay, so, you know, these folks are taxpayers they are constituents. We think we have to do something to try to get at least a family member to be able to visit these folks. I'm afraid we're gonna lose more of them to depression than we ever thought we would lose to COVID. And in fact, I think that if given the choice, most of them would probably say, I'll just go ahead and die of COVID rather than depression. So I think that there are some homes in Kansas, from what I understand, that are allowing maybe one tested family member to be designated to be able to have some type of contact with their loved one or family member, whatever that would be. And I just want to know what we can do as a health department, as a county commission, in order to facilitate something like that. Because, I mean, there's just a lot of frustration out there.
I agree, and I get phone calls all the time from family members, and I did, and Randy kind of knows because I had to call him, I think it was a couple weekends ago, but I feel like as commissioners, you need to talk to your legislators, and they need to, and I've been telling families to write their legislators, because I was told that they are following the CMS guidance and they have to go by the county rates. And I said, but our county rates are not as high as what the rates they are getting from CMS. And I totally agree. I mean, that visitors, family members, loved ones, I mean, couples who have been married for 60 some years, if one's in the home, the spouse has not been able to get in. And I too feel like something does need to be done. So I've been encouraging family members to contact their legislators. And, you know, I do know that the assisted living is not regulated quite like a long-term care facility, and some facilities even outside of Marion County are allowing courtyard visits or outside visits, but that is something that we need to start speaking out. And I have asked KDHE, and KDHE really has no regulating power for that.
So would it be beneficial for the commission to try to facilitate, whether that's in person or Zoom or whatever, a meeting between the county commission, the facility management, and try to involve one or two of our legislators, at least our local, to try to...
I think that would be great. I think what a lot of facilities are worried about surveys and getting fined if they open up more. So I think if the commissioners could meet with their board, maybe their medical officer or medical consultant for that facility, I think that would be wonderful.
Well, when you look at the litigation side of it, it would appear to me there's just as much of an opportunity to sue for a COVID death as opening up. But anyway, I'll just throw this out to the commission. I think we need to try to facilitate something. We've got to do something for these people. And so if that's facilitating some kind of a meeting together, which would include you and Doc Hodson and everybody. I mean,
I would be happy to be a part of that.
I think we've got a second pandemic going on. I truly do.
Well, and because I am actually going to try working on, I know our hospitals have been good about visitors, but I can speak from experience. If that loved one, if family is not in there, they don't have that, that will to live. Yeah. So I think something does need to be done.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to assist.
Okay.
I agree with you, Ken, 100%. I'm glad you said that. And I would even say, is there testing that the county can chip in to pay for that would open the doors up a little bit easier for these family members to see their loved ones?
That was going to be my concern, as the Sparks funds be utilized to, and again, we do a partnership with the testing that's going on over at Tabor. Can we get those 15-minute tests, and that's some of what Kent's going into, is can we get somebody up there to approve?
I will tell you that the long-term care facilities have been given those testing equipment. Some of them got the Sophia, just like what the college, now I'm not sure here in Marion County whether they got the BD or the Sophia, but they do have capability to do that testing within the facilities, and they are testing depending on what rates CMS is giving them. They have to test weekly, monthly, or even twice weekly. So I think there again, some advocacy needs to be done, because that is, in my mind, that's not appropriate use of resources to test twice weekly or even, weekly, based on those statistics that they are given.
Deidre, of course, I have some kind of secondhand knowledge, but since all of the nursing homes have started testing, I've been told that whatever test that they are using, since all the nursing homes evidently in the United States are using the same one, that there isn't even one of those available right now in Marion County until around the end of October, because they've all been used up.
That is correct, and because I know if they are required to test twice a week, they are using up those supplies fairly rapidly, and so I'm hoping that with that, I mean, maybe the good thing about a lack of resources, they'll maybe reevaluate that testing requirement.
Good.
So how much time are you thinking on this, Kent? Don't you think we should react on this pretty quickly? I mean, at least organize a meeting or get together.
Yes, I think we need to facilitate something as quick, ASAP.
Next week.
This week. This week would be better.
Deidre, I'm gonna reiterate what you and I started a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or so. And my feelings on since I've looked at that, but I have not looked in the other facilities in other towns other than my hometown of Peabody. I will tell the commission that we're gonna be fighting a pretty tough battle, even though I do not agree with a home that has not even tried to make a box outside their doors or something to at least let the people come, their sons, daughters, husbands, wives, whatever, come into and make visual contact with them, whether they're tested or not, And because we've seen that 2 and 3 months ago in other parts of our state here in Kansas, that they've made makeshift boxes for the patient to come out in and visit, and at least be seen. And I don't believe the home that I'm talking about in Peabody is even doing that. And that's where I think you got contacted, I think, there, Deidre, and if I'm correct, there's no kind of contact with the people, so, to their loved ones. Is that correct, Deidre?
Yes, it's through a door, but I'm not sure the setup, whether it's double doors, but we have to also keep in mind that the residents oftentimes in the nursing home, it is not easy for them to communicate through their telephones. So to have a telephone on either side, and also with lighting, with glare, it's hard to see each other if they don't have good eyesight. I mean, I just think it's time that something needs to be done.
I just want to throw this one in for the commission and for the public in general. I believe that our legislatures are on board. They put forward in the House bill some of the provisions that would exempted the nursing homes and hospitals from being sued. Our issue is with their governor. Our governor vetoed that bill. So I would say that everybody needs to send a letter to our governor, because she's the one that blocked it.
Well, and I too think that, and I'm not sure where this happened, but it might have been in House Bill 2016, that the patient rights or the resident rights have been modified a little bit. So I think with that, all of that, I think, yeah, you are right. Our state government needs to revisit that.
So if we could facilitate a meeting with our local nursing homes and retirement type homes, and try to include Representative Owens or Barker, both of them somehow by Zoom. If we as a county could come up, decide that we need to do something, is the governor gonna sue us?
That would be a Brad question, but I think that would be a very good question for Brad.
But I mean, if we could come up with, if all of us sitting here could come up with agreement and say, okay, we're gonna allow one tested family member, loved one, or something to have some kind of personal contact, I just think we need to do it. I mean, if the governor wants to sue us, let her sue us.
Well, I agree with you.
I think if the nursing homes have encouraged them to check with if they have an attorney or some type of legal counsel, I have encouraged them to check with them and to at least open it up for one loved one. And I think, it's kind of hard, but at least one consistent loved one is good. But that, I also think that family, that it should be more than one, but I think if we start with one, that would be great.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think it's a total violation of their civil liberties as well, so I don't think the governor would go that way, but it would be an interesting lawsuit to take on.
right. So is the commission have any interest in facilitating a meeting
I do.
as soon as we can?
I do, but I also do not forget the other side of the story here, because the other side of the story is that how many nursing homes was
at the top of the priority early in this fight. And now you've got homes that has not had a case in their homes, and I think that's why they're being so restrictive. I just see that, why they're being so restrictive. They don't want to be the spotlight of Channel 12 News or Channel 3 News. And so I understand their argument for not opening up, but also look at what we're talking about is the person involved can, and like you're saying, is the length of time now has been quite a while, and people lose a lot of those people lose faith and stuff. So
Well, we're never gonna know how many deaths from depression. All we ever know is COVID.
No.
COVID.
yeah.
Right.
Well, again, other things too. I know that nursing homes is a big issue, but you also talk about hospitals. So, I mean, there's fathers that are not in the delivery room anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of things that are psychologically
Right.
bad in this
Right.
situation.
But you know, in our county, the biggest issue is the nursing home. So I'm just kind of looking local. I know it's a big problem.
So, I mean, and all of that went together in that House bill that got vetoed. There was provisions set aside for nursing homes, for healthcare facilities in general, to not worry about being sued. Well, they still have to worry about it, but as far as it applied to COVID, and I think that's a real issue, is our governor needs to understand that we need this.
And how come our governor doesn't understand that? I mean, what kind of person does it take not to understand that? I mean, you don't have to be exceedingly brilliant to understand that. I think it's sad.
Well, I think oftentimes you have to live through it to understand it. I mean, it doesn't hit home until you yourself have been through it. And that's unfortunate.
So is it a possibility that the clerk's office could try to set up a meeting, a time?
Yes.
Where, and I guess we could contact, you know Stephen Owens?
Yeah.
Anybody know John Barker?
Yeah.
If we could contact those two, I think would be the two legislators we would want to sit in on it.
If they could get anybody else further on up too.
Yeah, and so if, you know, if the
Yeah.
clerk's office could come up with a date, we just call a special meeting.
And you said either this week or next week?
Well, I'm not saying it has to be this week, but sooner the better.
Yeah.
When the two representatives can
Yeah,
meet, I think the rest of us can be flexible with their schedule.
well, yeah, we don't know about the nursing home managers, because there's a number of them here in Marion County.
They should be able to send a representative.
Yeah, or a representative.
And EMS maybe will be on that.
You know, and I'll make that a motion if I need to.
How about our home rule power? Before you go that far, Ken, how about our home rule power?
Right, I had asked Brad about that a little bit, and he said we had to, because I was asking about, is there anything we could do to keep a shield up for these facilities, and he said, no, that all has to come from the state level. So I did try to explore that avenue.
What was his reasoning for that? Why would that be exempt from home rule?
I don't know. Maybe it's not constitutional home rule, so maybe that's why. Maybe that's why that's more important that we get constitutional home rule put through.
Been working on that for 2 years.
I don't know though. I don't know the answer to that. That would be, we can follow that up with Brad if you'd like. I have no problem with that.
It would be, I'd like to know the reason.
Did you make the motion?
I don't know, does it need to be a motion, or just be a directive? I mean,
Okay.
that way, I know that's the wishes of the
If the commission.
commission, as a majority, I
As
can
a-
see it.
As a directive. Fine with me, either way.
So, I'll decide that as a directive.
Do you know whether Brad's gonna be here today?
He didn't know for sure,
Okay.
because he's in court.
Okay. Everybody,
Yeah.
Deidre, is that?
Thanks, Deidre.
move on now.
I just had one thing, Jonah, there was a sheet that maybe you need to sign after you look at it a bit. It is actually a grant from through the Epidemiology and Laboratory Capacity Cooperative Agreement, which is funded through the Federal Paycheck Protection Program and Healthcare Enhancement Act. So I did apply for a grant, and we got $28,881.96. I attached the budget with it that I originally applied for. When I applied, I thought it would start maybe August 21st, if you look in there. However, by the time we would get someone hired and such, it probably will be about obviously a month and possibly a month and a half that we have lost time. So the grant, the salary and travel would have to be reworked. But that will also take a load off of that lab tech type thing that I was asking for in the Sparks money when we discussed that. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. Once we get it reworked, I am going to, but I do want you to know I'm going to try to hire a lab tech. I'm not sure what we're going to call him, and that's what that grant will cover. That is through the end of December.
I went ahead and passed it down for everybody to get a look at first here.
So if you have any questions with that, let me know. I realize I kind of slipped that in on you.
That's it. No questions, no concerns with it?
Looks good.
So then I'll accept the motion to authorize the chairman to sign.
I'd make that motion to authorize.
Randy makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Thank you.
I don't know that I'm actually signing this. Doesn't have. It's just a sheet.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deidre. All right. Go on to administrative in our packet.
Okay, in your packet was a letter from SCED. Were you all able to review that? Any questions or comments? Okay. There's also a report. It's the available balance for the CDBG grants. Any questions or comments?
Have we got more applications in the last week?
I have not seen any. That doesn't mean there hasn't been. Tina has a memo in here for all of you to update you on some staffing changes in the clerk's office. questions or comments? Okay, we have some change orders affecting 2019 and prior year tax rolls, and also supplements affecting 2020 value.
Supplements. Just for review.
Yes.
Yep.
have some effective September 21st, which is today, and then tomorrow, September 22nd. September 21st is in, the grand total amount is $181,124.13. And that includes the first payment on a transfer station lease and payment of county invoices for COVID-related items, which are to be submitted for Spark reimbursement.
Anybody have any concerns with the warrants? Okay. At first, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve, warrant for Western Associates in the amount of $485 for N95 masks. Second. Second by Randy. All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
One abstention. All those opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. Both sets of badges in here. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'll check that apart. See the other signature. And then our second batch.
So the September 22.
Oh, wait, we gotta approve the full on the first batch.
Sorry.
Sorry, that was my bad. Make a motion to approve $181,124.13. Second by Kent. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0. And any questions or concerns with the second round? The early checks for September 22nd? If not, I'll make a motion to approve $117,263.40. Second. Second by Randy. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0. There's two sign sheets here.
John, can you move me later?
Everybody catch that? Travis gonna move down on the agenda till later. Salary sheets.
Yep. Here are some salary sheets.
Okay. Oh, wow. Got a salary change for Ashley. Perfect. County clerk's office, from
That's two places.
$32.42 a month to $32.42 a month. Transferred from deputy clerk to personnel to deputy county clerk's accounts. Wow, way to cheer.
May need some discussion there.
I'm not even sure what I just read there.
Got
Okay,
Motion,
accounts
no
payable
payment.
got tacked on, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm moving from the payroll desk over to the accounts payable.
All right. I got a salary change for Jerry Miller, county clerk, his office, from $26.58 a month to $29.36 a month. Promoted to payroll personnel clerk. All right. In case Brad does show up.
Yeah.
What, on this mechanism?
Yeah. Well, people calling and asking questions and stuff about what we're doing, because they have problems hearing and stuff.
They're struggling to hear. They're struggling to hear.
Yeah. I didn't do that.
All right.
And next, Tina has a memo in here about the leadership course. Were you all able to read that? You'll need to approve or deny.
Just as a whole, right? We don't have to select any individual.
Correct.
Okay. And I will make a motion to approve that county department heads participate in the NACO High Performance Leadership Course.
Right, are you gonna go up to a maximum of 3 or stop? The way I read it, the first one you get 2 more, is that correct? 2 more
Yes.
people can come besides the 1? 3 for the price of 1?
Yes. That's what I
Okay.
agreed to.
So, what I'm
Yeah.
getting at is, are you gonna put a limit on 3, or are you gonna put a limit
Wonder how much interest there is.
I don't know.
We only got one so far.
Sounds like, one, and then Tina said she'd be interested.
Yes.
In the
Okay.
spring, but has not heard from anybody else.
So then I wouldn't have any problem putting a limit at 3 if we've only got 2 interested right now.
When you revisit it again,
I will,
sure we'll
amend
take
my
a minute.
motion to have a maximum of 3. Second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Transfer station. We have, what is it, payment, pay estimate number 7. Yes. That's a lot better. All right. Have a pay estimate for transfer station, pay estimate number 7. For grand total to the contractor, Nelson Fowles, at $246,433.50.
Second.
How much do we have left on that available?
Is that 119, is that what the total is?
Well, we got the retention.
Yeah, I think I subtract that from that.
I'm still concerned about whether we've got enough money.
Amount of contract is 195, or I mean,
Got 400,000 left.
1.9 million.
That's the amount of the contract, but How much left we have available?
Previous payments are 1.1.
And
So 1.35.
So we've got $500,000 left, a little over.
Just about. Normally the AIA forms list that out, but I don't see it on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be on there. I don't know if the engineering company needs to be able to provide that to the commission. Because we need to know on each one of those what we've got left.
I guess at this point, make a motion to approve the $246,433.50.
Second.
You got a second? By Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Just as a comment, and we kind of need to know where we're at soon,
Right. Like the,
because if we're gonna be in a position to either add more to it or make cuts, we need to be doing it quickly.
We'll be moving fast now.
Plus the bank wants to give us availability of what we just paid them.
later on. All right. Bryce has been patiently waiting out here. We'll go ahead and move on to the road and bridge. Bryce?
Good morning. Wanted to start out with saying thank you to everyone for the thoughts and prayers over the loss in our family. So that was very much appreciated. So, she give you the list of stuff I was going to talk about, and still have to. Okay.
Did you make copies for everybody?
Yes. That one right there. Thought I'd put it all down on paper. There was quite a bit of stuff to talk about. So, go ahead and get started here. We received the Department of Agriculture plans for the 350th and Sunflower Banking Erosion, as well as the Cottonwood River north of Florence. We're currently working on the permits to go in there and get that work done. That is a 75%, 25% split. The county share can be in kind, which means we can haul rock, purchase material, whatever else. So it wouldn't be a cash, just a cash outlay. It would be equipment-wise and stuff to that effect. So,
About some of the concrete up north, can we use that along there?
if we do, it will have to be totally free of rebar and stuff to that effect. So that's a possibility. We just have to get to that point. Like I said, we've got to get permits, and we won't need any land acquisition down on Cottonwood River, but on 350th in Sunflower, we'll at least have to have a access agreement with them to get in and out of there. So, like I said, this has been quite a strung out process too. So, I guess there were some questions in the last couple of weeks about following up with tickler items. Jess and I talked about what we could possibly do with that. One of the things that I think that we're getting to people is say, look, we understand you called in with these problems. The biggest problem we're facing right now is just a lack of employees to do that. I've got culvert crew guys, I've got signing crew guys running rollers, equipment, whatever else, just to get the work done. We are. I would love to say we could get on this stuff as soon as we can. We are letting people know that, that's what we're dealing with in all of our trucks. We're going to try to blade patch up until October 15th. That's when we shut off the oil for us, and it gets to the point. The other thing we've actually looked at, well, I guess I'll talk to them later, but anyway, we definitely emphasize that we want to try to work with the people on the tickler to keep things, get them done as soon as we can. So, like I said, until we can get other people hired and or freed up to get out doing that kind of stuff, like I said, that includes the culvert crew, just trying to get things done. We're also gonna have a couple retirements this fall, sounds like. So I don't know what we can do. I mean, we've got the applications on the website. If we put them in the paper, maybe we could go back and do the Indeed again. We actually put it on Indeed for a while. That brought in a little bit more inquiries. It didn't really work out, but I mean, at least that was getting the word out. If you look at the papers in and around here, there's people from all around here that are, you know, within 60 miles of here that are putting ads on our papers too. So it's kind of the same all the way across. But like I said, that's the biggest thing we're facing right now with the vacancies. Rebuilds, we have Diamond North at 56 done by Lehigh. I think it turned out well. Chisholm Trail to 190th, from 190th to US 56. We've got the base rock on. Going to be putting the gray rock on. So I think it looks fantastic for those of you that have looked at it. I would also like to thank the adjacent landowners, basically agreeing to laying back the slopes. It was a win-win-win for everybody. They have a lot better access and use of that land. We're going to have a lot less future liabilities, and it definitely helped out the roadway raising up and stuff like that. So that worked out well. We're currently moving equipment over to Falcon Road. We want to go from 56 down to 180th. I don't know if we're going to get it done today, simply because, or this week, because of the other people that were short. So Nighthawk, where we've got the employee or the permits in the works. Should be hearing something back hopefully next week on those permits. I did find out the pipes can and will be installed this fall by our forces, so we won't have to go out to the contract with that. That was going to be part of our share anyway. And we have to hire a surveyor to document the endangered section corners. Every mile and every half mile has a section point, and by state law they have to be marked as endangered when we do these kind of processes. What they do is they'll go out and mark them with tie points. Then when we're done, they'll come back in and put another point right in there, so they should be an inch below the top of the surface when we're done, so that they can be used. It's actually it's something that we work on all the time. You know, these things have been lost. I mean, a lot of times you see guys they're digging up the road looking for a big stone down in the intersection, and that's there too. But like I said, it's state law that this has to be done, so we'll have to do the same thing up on 330th east of Tampa. So the transportation alternative funding with the limestone bridge, we did get approval back from the state that we could submit plans for that. We've got until November 6th to submit those, so we don't need an answer right now. We're still looking at what we can do to try to cut costs, minimize costs, so it wouldn't be so expensive for the county. So again, we've got a little bit of time to get that done. I don't think it'll be too awfully long if we do develop the plan to do that. So
I'd like to ask right there, wasn't our cost 20-some thousand?
I don't remember at the time or what we come up with, but one of the things was when we first put the concept in there, the concept basically says, hey, this is what we're looking to do. Best guess as to what the cost would be. These things are really unique on what those costs are. I can get back with you. Like I said, we've got almost a month and a half so we can get this turned in, and that's just going to be again a pretty rough plan until it's actually approved. They'll actually want to see plans and stuff for it.
I guess, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask the commission to come to a vote before we go any farther and going for this plan. If this is the one I'm thinking of, east of Lincolnville, or the center school?
East and north, yes.
East and north.
310.
And the road is only yay wide, and so I think the commission needs to come together and see whether we go any farther on it, Bryce.
Okay.
I mean, I thank you for what you've done with it, and if this was something else, but I just believe that the commission, each one of us need to look at it, take a value of ourselves and see, then give you the okay whether we go ahead, especially before this deadline of 11/6 coming up. So that's my two thoughts.
I know the local folks up there really wonder what we're doing.
Yeah, and so we can justify what we're doing. That's
Yeah, I was told by one of the he's an active citizen up in that area, said, why don't we just push the thing in, take the corner, take the historical marker out of that and give it to Center High School.
I've even had some of the property owners tell me they just as soon leave it alone. That, you know, the owners of the land on both sides and stuff, and the people who are utilizing that road think it's a tremendous waste of money from the county.
And I think those are the people I'd like to talk to, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I really would, just to see just exactly how they use it, what goes on before we go any further.
Well, and I will tell you what they told me. They said the only people that ever drive on that road are poachers, number one. And number two, and in hunting season, then they have more traffic. But other than that, they're the only people that utilize that road and that bridge.
And I think the way the bridge is now, it really prohibits any kind of larger equipment or whatever else going
It
across
does,
the
it
way it
does.
is now too.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, by fixing it up and making better shape, would that allow that? I mean, that's what the plan would be. But again, that's, if the commission doesn't want to go forward, then we won't. I mean, because we're not out anything. I mean, this concept thing was just sent in there, and they said, yeah, it sounds like. And honestly, even if we do send it in there, we still not make an approval for it. So.
And I guess what I'm saying is, if it was road width and had 100 cars over it a day, I'd feel better. But 100 cars a year is.
It depends on if it's hunting season or not.
Well, and that may be true.
We could have the game board sit out there and get you too.
It may be, but
Yeah.
I wanted just evaluation. I appreciate what we've done, but I know there's a limestone, like you mentioned it, south of Peabody even, that has 100 cars or 50 or 100 a day.
Yeah, and that one there is, I think we're probably past reconstruction on that.
Are
We're
we?
probably gonna have to replace with something else. It's fallen in on top already, and you know, if we waited another couple of years, I don't know if we would be able to save it.
I think from what I've heard from so far, and I haven't talked to those people that use that property, but I'd like to value, I think the thing that what I've heard is to value what we're using, whether it's state money, our money, or whose money, Bryce,
Good.
is that we make it worthwhile. That's what I.
Well, I mean, if you want to make a decision, you'll make a decision next Monday. If you want to talk to more people, just tell me
Yeah,
what
I-
you want to do.
Yeah, I want to wait until I go up there, and maybe I can get it done by next week,
Okay.
but give us a couple weeks deadline on this to make a decision, maybe doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Number one, I don't want to see any county funds being spent on it. Number two, I don't want to see us having to devote any time to something where
Right.
we're so short on time everywhere else. I mean, that's my personal feeling on it.
Well, like I said, if you want to, we can come back and discuss it next week. I've got quite a few other things to go through, obviously,
I wouldn't spend too much time right now on it, Bryce.
but, well, like I said, that's the one thing we're really looking at, so.
Okay.
Like I said, I haven't heard from anybody that said it would be a wise use of money, depending on whoever's money it is.
Or time.
Okay. It's been brought to our attention that we actually had two constituents calling about increased truck traffic on 240th, 250th, east part of county here. Come to find out, U.S. Stone has actually opened a quarry over in Chase County, and they are hauling the rock up to the Harrington Airport at Delavan to do their operations up there. Now, from what I understand, talking with Tom Kirk over at Chase County, Chase County came up with an agreement with them for a haul route that would take them down to Highway 150, across to the roundabout, and then up north. And the truck drivers, trucking company, whatever else, are basically choosing to come across 240th to Zebulon, up to 250th, and then coming over to the Antelope Corner. And Tom seemed a little frustrated that they weren't following the approved route. As far as the route for us, we only have one posted bridge there, and I believe it was either 15 or 19 ton, which is a single axle load. So all things considered, it probably still structurally would be fine. However, it's probably more concerned that the roadway will get more wear and tear than what it has. They're telling me, U.S. Stone's telling me that the largest planned travel across there would be probably 30 trucks a week. Now, I don't know if that's guaranteed. That's just what he told me. They were going to average 4.4 a day, just going by what he tells me. So I guess leave it up to the commission as to what you want to do. I don't know if there's anything officially that we can do to keep them off the roads unless we say no through commercial truck traffic. And I did talk to US Stone, the guy there. He said they are willing to work out something with us as far as a per ton basis, whatever else, for use of our roads. So I guess let you know right now that we are aware of it. I'm supposed to be getting that information from Tom this week as to their contract and all that other stuff. So that according to Google Maps, if you plot both routes, this route would be 2 minutes closer. Now, based on Google Maps, but I can't imagine that driving those county roads for that long would be that much. I would think I'd want to be driving highway speeds, not have to worry about, throwing rocks and everything else to damage vehicles. So almost all the other structures on that route would just be culverts, and of course they're not going to be near as much damage to them as what there would be. But again, it's going to be the rock and sand more than anything.
So is this a special project, or this is going to be something that just goes on forever?
That's the way I understand it. It's going to be continuous operation until they run out of rock. Now, I'm also guessing that Chase County probably, I would think, would have had to change the use of the land from agriculture or whatever else to commercial or whatever it may be, if it's an active quarry. So I don't know. But like I said, I just wanted to let you know that we were aware of it. When we get the information back from Chase County, then I can bring it back to you or get it to you this week so you can look at it. Maybe we can make a more a better decision next week as to what you want to do. So like I said, we just found out about Wednesday or Thursday, and I finally got a hold of Tom on Friday, so that I didn't have time to get all the information there. So
I would think if it was ongoing, we need to have some kind of an agreement with them.
And it comes down to the fact is that it's like anything else. They can establish the haul route or whatever they want, but some of these truck drivers are going to drive. I mean, if they think they can save 30 seconds or a mile or whatever it is, they're going to do that, even though the only other option is if they keep doing that is, as the company, they have to go back and deal with that if it means find another trucking company or whatever else, because they don't want those issues either. But like I said, when I find out more information about it, I can get it to you so that we can look at that. And like I said, he said, we're party to something. If you guys want to come up with something as to a per ton fee or whatever it is. So, but anyway,
240th, 250th, we're using both of them all the way across our county?
well, 240th over to Zebulon, and then goes north, and then to 250th, and then west to Highway. That used to be, I believe, the paved road at one time.
Okay, yes.
And been turned back to rock
Yeah.
and stuff. So, confirmed with the contractor that did the railroad project west of Durham. They're going to pay us $6,000 for damage to the road over there. That should give us approximately 3 big dump trucks load of cold mix that we can take over there. We're still trying to get over there to get those replaced or repaired and patched. So the bridge inspection class that I was going to go to in October has been canceled because of COVID. Surprise, surprise. So I would imagine that they will probably offer the classes again next year. Again, we'll see what happens with that. But the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program also has a deadline of October 26th. This basically can be any bridges that are basically what are not included in the off-system bridge. These bridges can be on FAS routes, like paved roads, stuff to that effect. I believe it was a maximum reimbursement of $200,000 or something to that effect. But anyway, kind of give you guys input if you can think of a bridge. The 2 bridges that I kind of thought about maybe we could put in there is the one at Yurok Farms on 290th, just west of Nighthawk. That floods quite a bit every time we get rain and stuff. That's one location. Another location is just west, is on 290th, also west of Quail Creek. That whole Quail Creek 290th intersection floods terribly. Well, I don't know, for some reason I stopped, and if I was looking at the bridge on Quail Creek is a 4-span, 10 foot by 5 foot opening. The bridge on 290th is a 3-span 8x5 opening. So the bridge downstream is actually smaller in capacity than what the top one is. Now, whether that would make a huge deal on the amount of water come down there, because I think we have as much water going right across the corner of that intersection as we do trying to go through the bridges. I don't know, really the only thing I could see to try to solve the problem would be to raise that road up several feet all the way through there, you know, all the way along 290th, and then force all the water through the culvert, but that's going to be a substantial investment. But like I said, we've got some over a month to get that in. Now, that shouldn't take too much to get that turned into. We've turned them in the past. But if you guys think of a bridge, whatever else that you would want that would be, you know, more conducive to that, please let me know. So,
What about, even though some of these are on our off system, what about some of them on our inspections that's up there ready to go into the worst class of bridge we have? Do we have anything on those that?
we have all kinds of them. That I'm trying to. I was trying to think of places where we'd have the most traffic that would the most benefit from these bridges. And my next thing was obviously on the off-system bridge. I submitted that bridge on 230th and Eagle again for the off-system bridge. That has to be one of those that's not on the paved or the main federal routes. So again, like I said, I could go all over the place trying to find these bridges. Are any of them to the point of failure? No. Almost well over half our bridges are structurally deficient because of numerous reasons. The one at Yurok Farms is actually a narrow bridge. It's actually posted as a narrow bridge. So that's one thing. And then again, the one down on 290th and Quail Creek, west of Quail Creek, obviously it's too small, but there's a lot of other things to think about.
It's that one that you're talking about has been tried 2 or 3 times on different programs and never made it. So
which one is that?
The Yurok Bridge.
Okay.
That narrow one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why it floods so bad, if it's under-designed or if it's the drainage coming into there, because there's trees on both sides. Obviously those trees and stuff, you know, I think it's been open and everything else, but don't really know without checking into it. So, but like I said, that's something else that we can give you time to think about for next week if you come up with something. We selected Cook Flat Strobel for the high-risk rural roads project out here at 190th and Nighthawk, and it's in the process of did she send around the code of contact form? That was one more thing I had. Again, when you use federal money, you have to abide by their rules and just sign thing. Basically, just ask for some committee, someone in the committee, the chairman, to sign it. Said, yeah, we're not gonna be unethical on what we do. So it's the same thing we did on the 290th and Nighthawk up there. So
Need a motion to sign code of conduct. Does anybody want to see it?
Same that.
It's had before on the
Yeah.
last.
Yeah.
like I said, when it comes to using somebody else's money, that's what they.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to let the chairman sign the conduct,
Second.
code of conduct. You'll see it.
Motion by Dave, second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, the survey's been done on the ER project at 290th. We're hopefully have field check plans back to KDOT. EBH is very confident they can do this as long as we don't get held up by KDOT. KDOT's promised us a 30-day turnaround on field check plans, which is huge when it comes to getting those things sent through. So everything is in the work on there. Received information from Expedition Wind that they are looking to start in first part of November with a ramp up to the first of the year with heavy construction. And so obviously there's so many things that we need to address with them. And we're gonna have a phone call this Wednesday to discuss all those issues, to make sure that we get everything covered that I feel that the county needs to be addressed, and obviously bring that to the commissioners to see if you have any other problems. Obviously, I nor them nor the commissioners want to go through hopefully what we dealt with up north. So anyway, we're gonna have a phone call on that, so I should have a lot more information for you next week.
Does the commission wish to send their chairman, do you have a set time on that meeting?
It is 1 o'clock.
I'd like our commission chairman to sit in on that.
Wednesday?
I mean, that's up to commission, you're right.
Is it a Zoom meeting or an in-person?
Just a phone call.
Oh, it's a
Okay.
phone call.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's with Jesse Hopkins Noel, the vice president of their development. They're Mark Russell, their local guy, and I believe the contractor that they've selected also. And where this actually came about was the contractor's already been, the contractor called me with several questions. And I said, whoa, this doesn't go through me. This goes through them and then me. Second of all, that same contractor's been calling contractors around here trying to get all this prices and proposals and everything else. And he's like, what's going on here? And I said, we're gonna find out. So I was like,
The reason being, and I think there's 3 of us sat here, the other 2 new ones, that we felt like that some of this was all settled before it was ready to do, before we settled or signed, and so, and we didn't have a good clue. So
yeah.
I want more than, nothing against you, Bryce, by any means, but I want the commissioner somewhere to
Well, I think it should be open to any commissioner that
Well,
wants to.
yeah.
You know, if it's gonna be make a conference call.
That's
Because
what it's
it
gonna
does
be, yeah.
get
Yeah.
pretty-
Well, it will have to be either a public meeting then, have to be, or we have to have inability to comment and only listen.
Well, we have that a lot of times anyway, but.
I said, I don't really care if it's,
No, I don't have a problem with it on the phone. I gotta be in Junction City on Wednesday, that was my only concern, so that in person was not gonna work.
well, and honestly, if you wanna.
Said listen with Bryce, you know.
Well, it's either that or, I mean, honestly, I think any of you could partake if you want to just call in on the conference call. You know, have the same information, call the same number and the access code and you can listen in.
Yeah.
So I will follow up with you. You guys can decide what you want to do, but I'll just send that to you.
Yeah, send the invite.
Yep.
As long as they understand we need that road maintenance agreement in place before anybody
Well,
gets their shovel out.
based on it's kind of like it was before, when they signed all this stuff back, I believe it was in November of last year, was all that contract stuff was in there. What this is gonna be is more specifics. What roads are you going to use? What are you going to do? Stuff to that effect. So it's gonna be a lot more specific than just the general contract that was done before. Like for instance, the last I knew was like a 90% plan as to where they were gonna put their turbines. Well, we're to the point where you're almost at 100% and need to let us know what you're gonna do with the roads. For instance, one of the big things that we need to deal with them is on Nighthawk. Their plan is to use Nighthawk from Peabody up to about 140th as a haul route. Well, obviously it's in a bad situation now. One of the things that they're looking to do was just do a full depth reclamation and not put cement on it, just do a double chip seal. I said, honestly, with the amount of weights and the amount of traffic you're gonna bring in there, I don't see that holding together. And ultimately, they are going to be responsible for that ride and whatever else the entire time. So that's one of the things that I want to address with them. That's probably the biggest thing. There's really no other culverts that are going to come into play based on the information I had at 90%. Let's put it that way. But anyway, that's all the stuff. I'm going to make a list of stuff that I want addressed for that meeting.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I'll pass that stuff along to you. I got the contract striping lined up. They're about 4 to 6 weeks out. We've been getting people calling about sunflower, trying to get that done. So that's just let everybody know.
About Indigo.
What's that?
Indigo.
We weren't gonna. Basically, all we were striping was what we did on chip seal. Now, if you want to do that, we sure can. Or any other roads.
I'm gonna have to look and see.
I mean, indigo striping is for the most part. It
Intact?
could be redone, but I think
Okay.
I believe indigo was scheduled for chip sealing not this coming year, but the following year.
Okay.
And we're gonna have to do some patching on that too. We've got some areas that are.
Yeah, you got some kicking out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a water problem. You can see there's water in the base and it's breaking up the asphalt, so. The railroad, with the closure at 230th and Alamo, Had originally scheduled till September 15th. It's still closed. I contacted them and they've got it moved out till October 8th now. Obviously they're got a lot of work to do, and I'm going to follow that because it's ridiculous that they can't plan their activities any better than that. It's a railroad. Come on. So now one good thing about it is we don't have a lot of volume on the road, but it's still a road that's closed that could be problems. So. And just FYI, I had 2 roofing contractors looking at the county roofs last week. Just to let everybody know, I believe they're due, is it this Friday, 25th, I believe it is? I think that's what it is. So anyway, they've had that. There's a couple things here that I had too that I forgot to write on here. As far as the unroute easement up there on 300 to 310th, I'm going to go meet with Jerry. The biggest thing, I guess, the communication problem between Brad and whatever else was how big an easement that we're going to want to put along the west side of there. Obviously, there's a lot of trees that could need to be trimmed up or taken down, trimmed up, whatever the case may be. So we're kind of thinking that maybe a 30-foot easement would be good enough to provide access down there. But that's the only thing that really, I think, is holding things up. So I'm going to go up there this afternoon and try to talk with Jerry. We did get extension of our Department of Ag permit until October 21st. She said this is the last one, which is understandable. It's been dragging on, but we're going to do everything we can to get this thing taken care of as soon as we can. So it sounds like Brad's all ready for things too. So evidently there was a lot of miscommunication between myself and the cities of Peabody, Burns, Lehigh, whatever else about the chip sealing. I in no way said that we were going to do this chip sealing. There was going to be no cost for it or whatever else. What I'd done was I originally contacted them and said, hey, we're going to be in the area next year. Would you be interested if we could work something out to do this? I'm not planning on going through the entire town. I'm just going to hit the main roads, the outskirts, whatever else. And again, there's no guarantee. As I understand this has been done at no cost to the cities in the past, but they haven't done it in a while. If that's different, then you can let me know.
I thought they paid for materials.
Was it material and oil? Okay. Well, and like I said, that's where the way it was reported was, oh, this was a done deal, we were going to go with it. That was not the case by any means. So we've got some extra material that we had from this year that we could use too. So, but obviously I was just thinking, excuse me, because we're going to go 60th, timber 40th, well, we'd only be, a couple miles from Burns to do that. We're going to do some work over around Gossel, so we could work on that. I talked to Hillsborough, will be around there, but they've already done their stuff and they kind of take care of their own stuff. So anyway, again, I wasn't trying to bypass anybody, whatever else. It was just a preliminary discussion. If you want to go with that again, that's where they pay for the materials. Like I said, the labor is county forces also. So, but like I said, I didn't, for some reason they just thought it was a done deal, or that's the way everybody wanted to take it. So.
Well, I was contacted immediately after you did that, and of course, I didn't know nothing about it.
Yep.
And
that was
if I don't know nothing about it, I can't answer questions.
Exactly, and that's what I said. I didn't want to try to bypass anybody. It was just a preliminary discussion that I could come back with you guys and discuss it. So.
Way to work up the plan. I get it.
Yeah. So, we talked about earlier. We're talking. We're still continuing to blade patch. We're pretty much done with Quail Creek. Working on 290th. Again, we've only got about 3 weeks left of oil, so we're doing what we can. One of the things that we've been facing early in the morning is the cool and wet temperatures. Take the tack a little longer to dry. We've actually come up with a plan that if we can work it out, I want to spray tack on the roadway in the afternoon so it breaks, and we will actually set up a one-lane road situation with yield signs at night. Low volume roads, you can do that. It won't be miles and miles. It'll be short sections, maybe a couple hundred feet or whatever else. But at least if we get that tack broke, they can start work right away in the morning instead of having to wait. Sometimes we have to wait 45 minutes or an hour and a half, depending on what the conditions are. And that's what is bad about trying to patch this time of year. It's just the cool temperatures, any dew that's out there, and the material doesn't allow us to do that. So anyway, and we may not do it every night. We're just gonna look at things individually, if we have to move several miles in the process. But I think we've got the signs made up that we're gonna put some barricades with lights out there also, so that, you know, I think it'll work. Obviously, if it doesn't, then we'll pull it, so.
Does the county just have one distributor?
Yes.
What would be the possibility of having some kind of small way of distributing oil, so when we have these patching crews out, they could put a little oil down and get those things closed before they got where they had to have the big one?
What, there's two different options that we've looked at too. That actually does come into play too when we chip seal. Because typically the distributor and the oil causes as much delay as the trucks are there, but it still takes him 20 to 30 minutes to fill up. Well, one of the things we looked at was if we got rid of this distributor and went with a bigger one, we'd only have to fill up twice out of the tanker as compared to 3 times. So they actually make what they call a porta patcher. You put this material in the back of a truck, it's actually run through a heating system, and actually can get a spray wand on the backside there. So instead of just throwing the coal patch in the holes, you can actually spray tack down and do it that way. The problem is they're high maintenance and they're rather costly. But if you want to, I can sure look into them. There's not a lot of used ones out there simply because people usually run them until they're done. But honestly, it's something to think about that we could.
It just seems like, you know, when they're out there, because we see them patching these little holes, but the ones that I think they could still fill, and they say they're too big.
Well, and there's got to be a happy medium somewhere, because this really expensive material we use on there is like $125 a ton, where our coal mix we get is like $70. So it's a considerable extra money to do that. And I agree with you. There's probably more that of those other passes we could do, but we only get that stuff in 25 tons at a time. But I'm like I said, I can try to find something, give you ideas of what we'd be looking at. But I'm all for it. And unfortunately, it's a necessary evil right now with our asphalt roads falling apart like they are. If we can't get, you know, any more substantial maintenance or overlay or whatever else done on them, that we're just going to be continuously patching these, and so. But anyway,
Might be wise to look at something like that.
all right. I believe that was it. There's an awful lot of information there. If you guys have something else.
I got 2 salary sheets for Road and Bridge. Oh. I got a salary change for Preston Williams, Road and Bridge maintenance, from $27.23 to $27.49 a month. 6-month raise.
I will tell you that he has been a fantastic addition. He is.
We gotta keep personal performance out of the
I
conversation.
know, but just.
I know. Even good news.
Yes,
I've
yes.
been scoring before on that one too. So we got Luke Dawson on blacktop.
I didn't think that was performance.
$22.67 a month. Rehired to full-time equipment operator 1.
Right, so you guys
Sorry,
start
Bryce.
looking at contracting rock companies and stuff for rock
Yeah.
soon. They start call some for us.
Yeah. Which kind of brings up, we had talked about before, several months ago when it comes to budget. Do you have an idea or a preference how much money you want to contract into the harder rock locations? Or Ken had maybe made a comment, you know, maybe say 30% of it is going to be hard rock. I mean, it's a very tough number to say, but it's just something to think about, that we could set that up. I have not heard back from Harshman's. They were looking to possibly move into the Lebo quarry down there. Obviously, the Lebo quarry would be about as close as any of them, besides the ones over in Waverly and Melbourne or stuff to that effect. But something to think about. You know, whatever that number may be, we can. We've got many locations across the county. We could drop some. So, and the other thing is too is I plan to once we got this crushed concrete done, I'd like to move that all over the county too, because I think that whole trucking when we need it is what takes so much time, you know, so if we could move it from there southwest, so.
Again, Bryce, we haven't got back to the angle thing.
Yes. At this point in time, there's no way I could use it. I'm so short of help that,
Okay.
yeah, it's, until we get done with all this blade patching and trying to get caught up with all the other stuff we need, it's gonna be a lot.
So,
Honestly, if that's the case, we probably won't even get it. We'll just wait for the crushing. Just do it
Okay.
that way.
what I'm getting at is, what is our contract time with Gary up there?
We've got till July of 2022, I believe it is, June.
Like, we gotta rent the ground. for
Yes,
that.
because my plan was to hopefully get the next 2.5 miles going through Lincolnville to finish that project off. So,
And would it be best to contract this year or try contracting crushing of what we have?
well, based on where we were on budget, we didn't put any money into this. I was going to wait and do it right after the first of the year. There'll be all kinds of people looking for work, crushing operations by then, because you won't need water, so they'll basically be able to do it anytime. That was the plan, and I think there's like 6 or 7 different companies that I could contact, so I think there'll be a lot of demand for it. And the problem is the next project with KDOT probably won't start till April or May, so I'll basically have all that done. I mean, I think they're saying maybe a couple weeks they can crush all that, so that'll be done before the next project. Now, something else to think about is, I think, Kent, last year when you were chairman, we tried to get the other crushed concrete from up there, or the concrete move up there from the verdict corner at 340th. Whether that's something we try to go back as a commission again and see if they wouldn't reconsider, because there's tremendous amount of rock up there also, so.
It wouldn't hurt to try, because
Well,
I didn't.
yeah.
What are they gonna use it for?
Absolutely nothing. Because I guarantee you, they got piles of concrete all over the place that are doing the exact same thing. And I mean, that's a good sized pile. Most of them are, you know, maybe a couple hundred tons, but anyway, so, anything else? I know that was a lot, and
Yeah.
if you have any questions, whatever else, and obviously I haven't been here in a couple weeks, so, so anyway, if you need anything else, let me know.
You've been available on email. You've been
I
available.
tried. Yep.
Thank you.
You're gonna be out and about on the roads, you're gonna be in the office for a while?
I'll be out and about today. Did you need something?
No, nothing in particular, I'll send you an email or
Okay.
text or something.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, thanks.
Didn't move you up.
Good.
Came back.
I made it back in time.
Yeah.
All right. I like this one, free to go down as well.
Okay. Oh, same thing, you need another one? Okay.
Okay.
Did you make one for
I already gave it to you.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I think you passed it.
Oh,
Thanks,
that's,
pass it.
oh, okay.
Pass it.
It should be the financial report, and then, yeah, the numbers are on the screen, so. The first part's the financial report, the second part's the write-offs, we're doing those quarterly still, so, so we can look over the financial report and see if there's anything that jumps out, but, accounts receivable is $207,965. On 6/1, and receivable as of 8/31 is $204,522.81. See all the payers in there.
That's all we've received this year?
No,
Okay, I was gonna say that.
that's what's received through that period, Randy.
All through this period?
I believe that, yeah,
Okay,
if we
okay.
look at those numbers,
Yep. Okay.
I believe that's correct.
So that's between June and August?
Now you're gonna get me, hang on.
Well, you start off as 6:01 and then you end up as 8:31, so I would assume that that's from between
Yeah.
those
Correct.
months.
Correct.
Okay.
That is what it appears.
Okay.
So your accounts receivables basically dropped 3,000 between 6 and 8.
Correct.
So those write-offs that we did before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'll see on the third page, there's an unknown with a payment of $3,084.63. It's not really unknown, that's when, you guys may do a write-off, but yet they're still on a set-off system. So we do get that back in, so that's where that money's coming from. So. And then the write-offs for this quarter would total $6,639.11. And you can see there as to why we're writing them off. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the write-offs of $6,639.11.
Got a motion by Ken,
Second.
second by Diane. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Okay. And then Ashley's got our numbers there on the screen. You can see COVID has certainly affected our department. In 2019, the slowest month we had was 102 calls, and I don't know, it looks like this year, you know, going back February, we were 88, and then 94 and 80. So those were some slower months. We did receive that $33,000 from CMS because of the projected shortfall. So that money will help, but the doors are still open. We're trying to, we're there. People were just afraid to go to hospitals. So, questions on calls, anything of that nature, numbers? All right. I have 2 HVAC bids, and they're kind of apples and oranges. So I think we have a little bit to dig through here. I have one that is replacing the current system with a larger system, changing some airflow into the system, and basically adding returns to the rooms that we added to that system. They don't currently have returns, so that that hinders the operation out there for sure. We've added a window unit to help us get through the summer, but you know, we were still 80 degrees in there. It's not a big enough unit to keep up. I talked with Swan's Refrigeration and Fleming's Incorporated, both here local, and they just have 2 different ways. Merle would like to put the return, fix it, put a bigger unit in that way, where Swan's Refrigeration is to basically put the a mini split, or like you would find in a hotel unit for each of the rooms that was added. The only concern that I have with that is one of the employees that was here prior to those rooms being added said in the summertime the unit was there, that was there, did not keep up then prior to adding. So Swans would be to go ahead and use the one that's in place for 2 of the 4 rooms and add mini splits basically to the other 2 rooms. Flaming's is $8,124. Swans is, it's not total. Looks like $3,771. Says it does not include the electric work. So, I certainly can pass those down or have a look at both of those.
So how did you put these bids out? I mean, how did you contact these people?
I called 3 local vendors and got 2 to return my call.
So
And
so
they
you
both-
just stayed here in Marion County?
I did. In fact, I stayed in Marion specific. I don't know if that's right or wrong, Diane, but I thought if we were over in Hillsborough, I would call Hillsborough people.
It makes sense, because if you have issues,
Sure,
you will,
sure.
to have them be able to respond.
What about the utility
That's not
usage?
necessarily true. Yeah, because you can get, if you buy something in Hillsborough, they can respond
Oh,
just
yeah,
as
yeah,
easily.
yeah, I
If you
mean,
buy somebody
what I'm saying
from
is
Abilene,
you
they
get
can buy, they can
too far
respond
away,
just as easily.
it starts hindering on when you can get response.
I totally disagree with that from my life's experience of repair work and stuff. I mean, they get the company as that type of a company, yes. But if it's a good company, no.
So would Swans take more of the energy, electricity than a single unit? And they may,
I'm gonna assume so, Dave, but I'm also gonna say right now, the thing's running nonstop. City of Marion likes our electric bill,
Yeah.
but, I think either way, we're gonna be ahead of where we are right now with the electric use.
you know, I feel that one unit will run cheaper than 3.
Yeah, Jonah?
Well, it depends. A watt's a watt. It's gonna come down to
Yeah.
how many watts the compressor pulls versus how many watts the independent units pull, so. It's probably going to be, you're talking mini splits versus,
Yeah, Merle's bid was to
They wouldn't run all the time.
replace the unit with a bigger unit, add some fresh air
compressing
intake.
unit and an ERV.
Correct, a bigger unit, where Swans was to use the unit we have for 2 rooms, and the 2 rooms that were added would be mini splits basically, or I think that's what he's calling them, so.
I would
So
think,
either way, by getting the one compressor to shut down a little bit and not being overloaded, it'd probably wash.
So I'm gonna go back to this theory of when we put out bids, I think, in my opinion, the object of the game is to be the best stewards of the county taxpayers' money. So by totally eliminating competition, just because it's out of county. Now, I realize when you get bids in from other areas, you have the option within a 10% range or whatever it would be
Right.
to buy in county. But I think we're making a gross mistake right here, and I will tell you a personal experience from our house up there. Our air conditioning went out last year, and we went McPherson, Abilene, Marion, all these estimates. And I will tell you, I saved $3,000 by buying from another place. Now, that's just a home. I'm sure your system's probably got a little bit different, but it was a huge difference. And I will tell you, the service is awesome. So I think we should at least expand our bids and see where we're at dollar-wise and then make the decision. I really feel as though we're cutting our own throats by just limiting our own information right here. And like I say, if it's just a couple dollars difference or something, when you award the bid, then you can make that decision. But I hate to be kept in the dark or just be naive that we have to stay right here and just spend. Especially since the budget this year is gonna be tight anyway. We're worried about other things.
the taxpayers too. I mean, I don't think we need
What would happen
Harvey
if,
County.
what would happen if all the other counties, Dickinson County, McPherson County said, well, we're not gonna buy anything from Marion County?
Happens
How
more
do
than
you
you
think
think.
that would affect us?
It happens more than you think.
But it doesn't happen as much as you think either, because I know of other places, I mean, it goes here through there.
I don't know where you're getting your information from, because I bid jobs all the time.
Well, I know people have big jobs too, but I'm just simply saying, well, at least you bid it, they give you the opportunity to bid. That's what I'm saying, we should be giving them the opportunity to bid.
So I'm talking to you.
It's the only fairness.
I'll certainly do what the commission asks.
I don't know who was trying to talk, but the, first things first is we probably need to go to not have apples for oranges. We
Sure.
probably need to set aside a spec, and you need to determine which one of these routes you wanna go.
Sure.
And then allow the bid to go back to both of
And
these.
that's kind of what I thought I had done, but they simply didn't come in apples to apples. And that was the information I had. I'll go as far as you'd like me to go to get people, whatever your wishes are. This is the first I
And
have
we
done.
haven't announced anybody's bid, so only us have seen this and yourself, right?
We gave out prices right there. I did. Recorded, sorry.
But we can reject those bids and start over.
Well, yeah.
With different description, like you
Right,
said.
but if
So
you
we can
go,
still do that.
if you go and you pick to spec out one way or versus the other, then their competitor already knows their number, and that's the problem.
Well, with these two people here, they do different modes of operation too. And one does ductwork and another one just does units. Certainly, they're not apple to apples.
Right.
I mean, it's Suffield, maybe I shouldn't, if the third person here in town would have been, he does what Fleming does.
Sure.
So, no, you don't, well, you couldn't apples to
Yeah,
apples.
the original one was to replace the entire unit
Yeah.
and then make
And you
it,
should
that's just
have
not what I got back.
Return air and to make it
Sure.
work. But you guys probably want clean air.
Right.
I mean, you're on the
Right.
healthy side, not filtered air.
I got a little different outlook here
Okay.
than what we're getting to decide what we wanna do. We've got a problem, and I wouldn't have thought of buying the building. I would have never guessed that you run an air conditioner, we're gonna have as much sweat and stuff as in that building that we have. One concern of mine is that we get a guarantee from whoever. We don't have that problem, in whichever way we wanna go. Now, if the other units keep from sweating, I mean, you know what we're talking about, Dave?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You've seen it out there.
In motel rooms, yes.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying.
Metal buildings like to drip from
Our-
above when the
Yeah.
condensation.
Randy, Mr. Belkey,
Yeah.
we put a dehumidifier in there.
Yeah.
It's helped, but, I've had a couple different people come look at it, and it's two things, it's the heat load, and the other is that we're getting encroachment from heat from the attic down. We went in there, the crew and myself, and we've insulated, those stud walls inside going all the way up, and they have stops in them, first and second floor.
Yeah.
But on the back side of that, all the ribs to the outside of the building are open all the way up. So they've run electric down those, so each one of those ribs is up to the attic, and that's bringing, when you pull a tile back, it was hot above that. And it shouldn't have been, being we're in a conditioned space. We've eliminated some of that, it's helped. But I think we're gonna have to get the air out of the attic. I think we're gonna have to get some vents in the attic. The soffit vents appear to be there, but they appear to be plugged. I don't know if they blew the insulation in and plugged the soffit vents. We have two little gable vents and that's it. And I've been in the attic and it's hot. I mean, I know all attics are
Right,
hot, but this one
right.
just doesn't seem to be getting rid of.
If you don't have ventilation up there, that could be a lot of it.
Again, but I think, one, it was determined the unit was simply not big enough. Two, we're fighting another battle. So it's twofold.
Two dollars here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've been working on our own to try and fix the heat encroachment issue. It is better, but yeah, so we're absolutely dripping water off of every non-insulated ductwork. And we're building mold in the ceiling tiles to the point, I bought a dehumidifier, I bought ceiling tiles, now we're pulling ceiling tiles back out, and, I just wanna get it fixed, and I'll
Yeah.
go as far as I need to get bids or whatever. Just needs fixed, so.
So with both of these,
In,
fix that
in
problem.
theory, you're returning only the air out of the smaller area. That unit should handle that. However, the employee I had that was here before those other 2 rooms were added said it absolutely did not keep up. So, a bigger unit, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I'm certainly not an HVAC person.
It sounds like you need somebody to go up on the roof and look at it. and
We've been on the roof.
Put a turbine in it. so
Well, I think that's,
we can-
I was in
we get
contact with,
circulation.
yep, I've been in contact with a couple people.
And,
I think it's
you know,
something.
these AC people should be able to tell you that,
Sure.
what you need to do.
Mhm.
Not just put a unit in and
Yeah, no, and I think the conversations I've had with them.
re-engineer it a little bit.
Sure.
The, either way works, it just depends on which way you wanna go, in addition to the attic fans.
Right.
With thermostat settings to kick on whenever it heats up enough.
The little units there, that would be per room, is that correct, Travis?
It'd be 2
The-
rooms.
There's
or
2
one-
rooms
One
at-
condensing unit.
At that price.
How many cuts in the building will we make for that? Is there any,
It'll be the,
like uniform? Oh, it'll be the little ones?
yeah, just for
Okay.
because the interior unit just has the Freon pump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with what we're talking about there. I know what it is, but I don't know exactly how.
Well, you'd have 3.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere you gotta take the electric out to
Yeah.
the condensing unit, so.
But I think
Well, let me keep working on it.
You
Yeah.
start talking,
Get more.
motel rooms, and I'm thinking the ones that you completely cut a hole in.
Right, those are,
And,
this is, you're right. This is P-TAC, so it's not mini split.
Okay.
So they are. the
A
hotel
regular
units that you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Unit, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
and so when you use them, why, that's a little different setup altogether, completely different.
Yeah, they would be
Okay.
big
You got
rectangular holes.
2 foot by 4 foot hole.
Well, let me go back to the drawing board on this, and I'll come back with a lot more information.
Yeah, ask them for ventilation.
Sure.
Too in the roof.
Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely include that as part of your spec, to have the attic vents,
Okay.
fans thermostatically controlled.
Okay. Let's see.
But we get it done before the end of the year, 'cause you got it in this year's budget.
Yeah, I'd like to get it, now's the time of the year.
Yeah.
Kinda makes sense to be
Yeah.
working on it, so.
Well, they got
I'll hurry.
2 now too.
Yeah, so, vehicle purchase, I tried, if this bid goes better, but, I did bid 2 vehicles, one through Hillsborough Ford, one through Midway Motors. This would replace the director's vehicle, but also my vehicle would go down to a supervisor type vehicle. We're running 2 shifts currently that have that position, not a specific person in that position, but that they are rotating through it, and it's working well, so. And I guess before I announce anything, we'll let Jonah have a look, and he can read the dollar
This one's a
amounts if
little
it makes
different.
sense, so.
It's vehicles.
Well, yeah,
Most, basically the same size cabs inside.
yeah, they're both pretty similar. I've spoke with the sheriff on, you know, he's going one way versus the other, and it's a lot of that has to do with his employees, more comfort, more standard features, a lot of that. It has no bow tie on it, so I don't, either of them work for me, so.
But you're only bidding one vehicle.
One vehicle,
Two different locations.
yeah, well, it's 2 different models, but yes,
Yeah.
one vehicle. A Dodge and a Ford.
Close together.
So,
we come back to the same issue we had with the sheriff on the Dodge from Midway Motors. That vehicle has to come out of McPherson. All warranty work has to be done in McPherson.
okay.
What was that?
I think there's $455 difference there. Yeah. I believe that to be correct. And then I'll do what the commission recommends.
So
Now,
the
say
same.
you had a bow tie, you could bid Hillsborough. Bid.
Correct.
They
We just,
I think so.
they cost too much. So I didn't bid those.
You're not recommending one over the other?
Not at this time, can't. If I had a fleet of them I was trying to keep in order, I think that would make a difference, but just one vehicle.
Your vehicle doesn't have high mileage on it? does it?
No, we're at 65,000 on it. It's a 14.
Or broke in?
Yeah, I think we can get it miled out the next 4 years as a chase vehicle. So.
Is that agreement, can't you still think because there was a Chrysler dealer in Hillsborough when they folded up?
It does have something to do because there's a class action lawsuit that's been ongoing since the last recession, when government bailed out GM.
Yeah.
I think the dealers, if you buy a GM car, you have to pick it up first, you can't pick it up in Hillsborough. Even though you want, that's the auto dealers.
Yeah,
They can work on the GM. You can't
the
pick it up.
the Dodge has got a full-blown 5.7 V8. The Ford has only got a 3.3 V6. Is there an issue where power is a concern? I'm just
I don't think it's as big a concern for me. I think that in visiting with the sheriff, the reason we went with even a police package or a pursuit package is simply stability, drivability, that kind of thing, because we are breaking the speed limit. If you go buy one off the lot and you're breaking the speed limit, there's some liability that's involved with that.
But you're not pulling anything with it or anything?
No. And I'm certainly not going that fast, or, so.
I'm just saying, because I've had some experiences between trucks, trying to save some money, and I've bought the smaller engine before, thinking I'll have less fuel, turns out it burns more.
Yeah.
Just pulling itself, it works all the time.
It works harder.
Yeah.
The only thing you said difference was one's a truck and one's a car.
Yeah.
It changes a little bit.
Where? So I hear what Kent's saying, but I also see that this has got more value in it, and it's a cheaper option. So I don't know how much value you put in for the warranty, but I do see it. So I guess I gotta go with.
I'm just saying that I don't buy new vehicles, but the people who buy new vehicles tell me they get recalled all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually hardly anything, but you've gotta take it to the dealer. So if that means you go to McPherson once a month, that's 12 times a year,
Right.
it's out of service more.
Sure.
Anybody need to review these again? Anybody need to review these again?
On my recalls, I kept mine down in Hillsborough with the GMC.
Right, because that's what they can sell there.
Not in Hillsborough, they don't. They sell Chevrolet.
I don't know, we've been told though, Dodge Dodge is bought through, Midland Motors have to go there first. Why not?
The, I guess it just announce it, but you got it in your budget.
Yep.
Another main question.
You know, always go for the bigger engine usually, because you don't know when you might,
Right.
they're gonna pull something someday.
There always is potential for the trailer, and this one's already got a trailer tow group pack. It's got skid plates. I mean, it's,
That's my third.
yeah. We got a bid for a 2021 Ford Explorer at $34,342, and we have a bid for a 2021 Durango at $33,887. At this point, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the Durango at $33,887.
Second,
Second by Dave. Any other discussion?
It does, what Kent said is about does bother me that we have to do that, but that's something that, I thought it was decided by, you know, one of these class action lawsuits or something, if that's the reason why it has to do that. No. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Aye. 3-2. Opposing is Ken, Randy.
All right. Another thing I currently, and we could go back to the numbers and look at, I'm pretty sure yeah, with what the ambulances are doing, but Florence, pretty well down to one, sometimes two first responders there. I made you guys aware of the monitor issues. We're spending $35,000 a piece to replace those for the FDA, February 2021. We've budgeted some money for that, but Florence is on the verge of, well, I say on the verge, they are currently a first response unit. I have no dates, but they have 2 people on call to staff the ambulance. It just, one of the guys that was pulling the majority of the time has decided that it's time to retire. There's not a group of people standing out there wanting to dive head first into this. I certainly have no problem meeting with the folks down in Florence, but we've been treating it as a first response unit the last 2 months. And I absolutely think the unit can stay there as a first response unit. We just take the licensure that says it's a transporting unit away. Call volume wise, when they were running 4 to 7 calls a month, of those 3 to 6, Marion's ambulance was going down to assist, and so we were covering them either way. Yeah, so July they made 1 call. I'm sorry, June 2, July 1, and August 0. I think they're still important as first response to have those numbers. Florence went in June, they went on 7 first response. So Marion was coming down to be the transporting unit. For whatever reason, I don't have July's. And in August, they went on 1 first response call. I certainly don't think we would want to get rid of the first response people. I don't think we want to get rid of a first response vehicle down there. It still is an important role.
But how many people do you have that's still on the pay active?
Active is 2, but but they're generally not there at the same time. One's working out of town, or they're both working out of town. It's a tough deal. I don't like it, but
I don't know that we addressed it down that far, but the general, when the agreement was made to come county, this was a city-owned operation, and when the agreement was made, it was as long as they had people to staff it. And I don't know if you know, we've already went from down to a 20, they can't serve as a full-time unit, you know,
Sure.
that way. So we're down to part-time, now we're down to we're going to first responders. I don't know if the agreement even went that far, that what happens when it goes to first responders. So somewhere this commission has to make some decisions. I want to visit with the city of Florence before anything would be done.
Sure.
And I would think that would be, I mean, not just me, but I think commission, and it is Dave's area now, so. But there is something there to take a look at. What do we do? Gossel, how many calls did they make in those same months?
Gossel went 1 in June, 2 in July, and 2 in August.
And so there's a little more usage over there, but
Sure.
we're not too far from a deal with our first responders, so just really would like to keep the board on schedule here, whether we need to plan ahead, whether we make that decision to move ahead without first responders. I mean, it's.
Well, no, you still gonna have first responders. I think you're just asking if we would take away that unit
As a licensed transport unit.
Yes, that's what he's asking right now, but at the same time, do we, and it don't cost that much probably to leave it down there. I don't know what kind of cost it would be, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, if, in this service, how far do we go with our service to extend that?
And from my side, Randy, I think there's a lot of value in first responders. When that ambulance is 10 minutes away, that first responder can get there and do a lot of good things for the patient. And that's, so I definitely don't want to deter from that. As far as the unit itself, I've looked at the agreement. I need to review it again, but I certainly will talk with Florence and let them know where we're going. But for the last couple of months, that's the way that the operation has been, just out of necessity, or the only way it can be. But I just wouldn't want to invest a lot of money into a unit that's not being staffed.
Right.
So therefore, I think visiting with them and making that a first response unit, a lot like
So-
Gossel, Burns, Lincolnville.
So, we've had a motor go out, but we had some very nice people down there
Sure.
pay for the motor and stuff. And so things like that can happen in our future here. It's, I don't know what year, 2008?
I think, no, be older than that, 05 maybe.
I was gonna say 4 or 5, I didn't
Yeah,
know what it was.
and we've put, last year we put 3,000 in injectors in it.
Yeah.
Probably hasn't went 1,000 miles since then.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, but anyway, things to be thinking about, and we'll be talking about.
We didn't take any action as far as,
No, I just wanted you to be aware, Jonah, and I think between Dave and I, we can visit with them. Certainly not something I want to do, but it's a reality as well.
Fact, yeah.
So, yeah, sure. Okay. COVID-19 essential workers. I had a COVID-19 case within our service. We had people quarantined due to that. They were within 6 feet for longer than 10 minutes. Of those people, one was a county resident. The others were outlying counties. A modified quarantine for essential workers was they could come to work, they could do their work, and they could drive home. I got 4, we had the positive individual, and then we had 4 that I had tested that came back negative through taper. We continued to wear masks. When they were in the ambulance together, they wore masks. We wear masks on every call. I thought that went pretty well. I currently have somebody that was one of my tested that is negative. However, he has a family member that's positive. He's supposed to be at work today. With a modified quarantine, he's asymptomatic. He wants to be at work. I was told by the health department not to have him work today. This was going on at 8 o'clock last night, and we couldn't get a hold of the people that answer their phones like we're being told they answer them. I'm not happy. So, as and the employer, if they're essential and they're asymptomatic, are we going to work them? I guess that's my question.
I think if you're following all the guidelines that are there before you, and this is what it says.
I'd say do it.
Masks. I mean, everybody's wearing masks. When they were doing the modified quarantine, I'll be honest, I was sending them to work and telling them to stay away from each other. And, you know, we started training in the mornings again. That's where the exposure came on that first one. So now we've stopped that again. We're trying to isolate from each other when you are around each other, when you're in the ambulance, in the kitchen together, people are wearing masks. There becomes a problem when we cross county lines. People are, another county's doing something different with my employee, telling him he can't come to work. And the lines are getting crossed. He's an essential employee who lives across the county line. At the bottom of the paper, it says if the employer states that they are essential, they can go to work on modified quarantine. But yet, there's too many moving parts on this, and I don't have a black and white answer. My employee wants to be at work.
But state law or federal law, whatever you're going by, would supersede anything a county would say.
Sure.
Well, not necessarily.
I'm headed to the health department right after this, and we're gonna try and get this cleared up, because
So the other county says no.
they say that, but on the paper, at the bottom of it, it says if your employer determines this person to be essential, they are allowed to go to work. I don't, but yet, I'm told at 8 o'clock last night, just tell him not to come to work. Well, that's easy to do, and I'm not taking shots at anybody, but if you don't get your road graded that day, that happens. But we take a minimum number to operate this service, and I gotta have that.
Well, I say you should do it, go to the health department and do what you do, but as long as you're following the state laws and stuff like that, we're not bound by other counties.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. We're responsible for our county.
And we are. That goes back to that vetoed bill, put the power back in our seat, so.
Yep.
And again, this particular employee is not gonna come to work sick, but wants to come to work when he's not sick. A cohabitant of a house having it doesn't guarantee you have it, so.
They all follow protocols about checking in and stuff like that anyway.
Yeah.
Temperature check and all that.
The temperature check has fallen off nationwide as something that is the key indicator. I mean, the one that I had positive never ran a fever. It was all chest and, but yes, we absolutely check our temperatures. We check temps before we go into any hospital. We're wearing masks when dealing with people, so.
I guess
Just a little frustrated.
Comes down to the mass work.
Well,
And it's, you've done right. I'm just judging off of my company that they're telling us the same thing. We can't go in the office together. We can't do.
sure.
you're
And the
working
challenge is
anyway.
we cohabitate for work. I mean, they're in there for 24 hours together, but I'll leave it at that. So,
The only other thing is just a liability standpoint.
Yeah, I
Do you
think
see
like-
any possible, whether who they're working with or?
We have stopped moving people between stations, so they are with who they are normally working with. They're a team. There's absolutely a risk associated there, but again, everything we hear is good hygiene, hand washing, wearing masks, the whole thing. And like I said, I encourage them not to be hanging out together. I mean, I know that counterproductive in my book. I think they should be spending the time together, reviewing calls, going over things, but it's tough to do right now. So we are trying to limit exposure to one another, I guess. The greatest risk is the trip back from Wichita, where you're in the same vehicle, that type of thing. But
Have the window down.
right. So, well, I'll get my employee to work, and I'll visit with Deidre, and hopefully we can get this ironed out. But I don't think it'll be the last one. I really don't.
Setting precedent now, though, so.
Okay.
So I have one question for you. Is Josh Clevenger, is he still doing training for you and stuff?
He
And
is,
that's
yeah.
going well?
Yep. So, our training, you asked that. Josh is very much coordinating and entering stuff into the state side. Everybody that's working full-time is training within the training circle. We have a training tomorrow night and then next Tuesday night for the volunteers, one night in Hillsborough, one night in Marion. We had backed off of that. Again, if I bring the folks from Peabody up and Tampa down, and one of my full-time people is there and exposes them, are we quarantining the entire system? That's a challenge.
Quarantine altogether.
We have, we have, well, and then you get to coming back positive and transporting patients. I don't want that.
Right.
We, the county, spend a lot of money, a lot. We spend enough money on internet training that's available to all of our people for continuing ed. The state accepts that. But yeah, Josh is absolutely being an asset for me. And I think if things ever get back to normal, I think we're gonna be in a good place.
And so I just want to add one other thing. When it comes to lawsuits and worried about liabilities and stuff, in this particular case, with this COVID, stuff like that, you're not going to be able to predict lawsuits on either side.
Yeah.
So personally, my thought is we need to just simply abide by the laws that you're abiding by, take the precautions, because as I'm seeing with these restaurants being closed and people being prevented to feed their families, the biggest lawsuits that are going to start coming is the invasion of our civil liberties. And that's already starting on the West Coast, and it's starting to go like fire. And it's a very valid point that we have to take into consideration.
Right.
So,
Just still need to calculate the risk as best as possible.
Did I get the bids back from the HVAC, or are they floating around?
I thought I was sending back.
Did I get them back? Okay, very well.
Yeah, we
Should
passed.
have.
That'll work.
When your policy comes out.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hey Travis, did you leave a copy of those bids with Ashley?
I will.
Thank you.
Be glad to.
Yeah.
And the others?
I have the vehicle bid.
Okay, very well. Thank you.
This one, can you?
We're going to need to move an agenda item on the GPCN and put it somewhere after the commission employment interview, along with our public comments. They're gonna have to be moved on down the list because we've got a couple people here that need to be here at a certain time. And, so I think we need to have performance review and the employment interview moved up the list right after Josh here. Everybody all right with that? Yep.
Your employment review, you can move to the end, because that's the preparation of it,
Okay.
and that'll just be the board.
Okay, so we'll just take all 3 items after Josh and move them after the employment interview. Is that all right with everybody? Okay. All right. All right, Josh.
I do.
Last week, I kind of caught wind, there's a company that's been hauling in out of county trash. And I can't find anything, I've looked through everything. We have nothing really for the out of county trash. We used to charge, but since I've been in, we haven't had any problem. I just looking for a little guidance. I don't know, what we need to do. I know other counties don't accept any out of county trash. I don't know if we want to go that way. We want to, what we would like to do on that.
Okay, let's say, is this a company that has a routine route that goes out and picks out of county? Or is this a person or a company that's coming in, just bringing in out of county?
It's a company, they have their roll-offs that they've been bringing in from another county and dropping it off here and taking it back to that business that they had.
So they're stealing our trash?
Huh?
No, they're bringing us their trash.
They're bringing their trash.
We're paying for it.
Oh.
We're paying for
We're
it.
paying for it.
However, the roll-offs, you're charging for them?
If they're trash, they're, I didn't find out about this till later.
Okay.
If they're trash, in the county, we don't really charge, unless there's a lot of construction and demolition, and we do charge.
The simplest thing to be is if you're gonna charge for it, just make it C&D regardless, and we're just not taking.
So why wouldn't you charge for a roll-off, or that's excess trash?
It's their roll-off though, right?
Yeah, it's,
I mean, it's not a household or a business.
well, most of them roll-offs come in from, their houses that are getting cleaned
Well, yeah.
out, but.
Construction, yeah.
Mhm.
And that makes sense, cause you hit them with a C&D anyway,
Yeah.
so.
So the out of county was kind of getting me and kind of threw me for a loop.
Because we're cheaper?
Well, if it's just trash, we don't charge for it, so.
But you've got to, if it's out of county. If we know that, you've got to charge. I mean, you just can't let them come in because the rest of all of us sitting in this room is paying for that trash.
Mhm.
So there's got to be a charge, but whether we want to continue to accept it or not, that's sort of our decision.
I don't know if it's a company and they're bringing it in, they ought to be able to afford the C&D prices.
Correct, I mean, yeah, so.
I'd say either charge them C&D prices or don't accept it.
We're tight in this new half right now. I would just like to turn them away for now.
Yeah.
Until we get this all up and going, and maybe relook at it.
I mean,
Well, Commission, I'll tell you, I know that I'd like to see it looked at from the word get-go. From our bookkeeping, clear through to what you see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this deal has been ever since I've been here, and it always looks like there's something. Now we've got a new facility, we need to pay for it, we need to generate it and keep it going, and so I think our whole system needs to be looked at and make sure we're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
New houses where they're put on and all these kind of things, whether the property's taken off, right, stuff. Just look at our whole process here, and you're just the start of it, I think.
Mhm.
But that's gonna take, I know it's gonna take a lot of time up here in our office, and they may not have that time too, to do some of this, looking at that, because, yeah.
your recommendation is to just put a stop to it for a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you feel comfortable doing something other than that, bring it back up. That's where I would leave it. And if the commission's all right with that directive, I'll just, that is a directive for you.
Okay.
Let it be.
Yep.
Okay. that's all I had, so.
We sat
Quick.
out there all that time.
I did. Quick, easy, to the point, right?
In the meantime, some roll-offs came in.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think maybe public notification to that company. And I think, does the commission want to accept out-of-county trash?
I don't have a problem with it as long as right now he's in the middle of transition and he's trying to make things
Right.
work. And after we get through that and the facility's open full
We can
scale,
look at it.
I think that would be the appropriate time to look at that. But until then, probably isn't.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it as long as.
Could be an asset, could be a liability.
Yeah, and I don't know which way it goes there. Except somebody's got to haul that trash to El Dorado.
Right. We pay
You
for
gotta
the
push it in
time.
the hole, we got expense when we received it.
Right.
And does out-of-county trash go higher? Because I do know that, like Harvey County, I think there's a different price, or any of other counties when you bring it in. It's a higher price if you're out of county. I remember seeing that in the research we've done before. So,
All right. Thanks, Josh.
suspend it for now, and then we'll look
Thank
at it.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
We have.
So you
Employment
remember on
interview.
the motion for this executive, it's for employment interview and the applicant and board, and it's for exception number 1.
Short recess. Is anybody all right with that?
Yeah. She just went out to talk to him.
Yeah. I guess we'll have you sit here for a
Okay.
moment. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Morning.
Morning.
Okay. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 1, personal matters, non-elected personnel, for employment interview, for, just do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Resume back at 12 o'clock with the board and the applicant pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Five.
Okay, we'll be back on the public meeting at 12 o'clock.
Lunchtime.
We made it
Straight
on
up.
time.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. This time I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 1, personal matters of non-elected personnel for employment interviews for 10 minutes with the board and the applicant pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, so we will be back in 10 minutes. Have it set down. 12 on your phone.
Level 1.
Okay, we'll be back at 12:11.
Okay.
Thanks.
Just want to mention, if you guys need to talk to Brad, he can be on the meeting until 12:45.
He's at
I mean,
lunch
he's
now.
been on the meeting, but he
Yeah.
can be on only till 12:45. He has court at 1, so.
I'll look at him and see what he has for us.
I think he was just gonna be available for you if you needed something.
I'd like to talk to him.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Out of executive session, no action taken. back into our GPCA. Should we get into that right now?
Yes.
Just start our agenda back up. So,
Okay, and you had a memo from me in your packet, just about our website and the need to update the website and, the tech committee's desire to transition to another company. And, so Lloyd is with us just in case you have questions or you need other information.
I'd like to ask if, are we looking ahead, and I don't know what the future is, Tina, you know, but we, Zoom meetings and things, is that, all that kind of stuff, is this website is it up to speed, or is it ahead of us, or what? This new one that
For-
you're looking at? For anything we'd wanna go into, I mean, is it?
well, there's two different platforms. The
Yeah.
website would be different than our
We
GoToMeeting.
should be able to post everything on our website, the new website, just, I mean, we're posting it now.
Okay.
But we wouldn't be able to necessarily host a meeting through the website
Yeah.
itself, but we would still be able to post on it. I'm sure, we have that capability now, so.
Does it make any easier to go find properties and things like that, or is that still another program under the website, different program under the website?
I believe we'd have the same, type
Parcel
of,
search?
yeah, abilities.
Okay.
It's just hosting
Just
somebody else's program
Okay.
on a new website.
There's probably some. I don't know if this recommendation, I mean, that's, I understand moving certain things just for the world we live in today.
The website is very important to commerce and business in the county, and, you know, it's gotta be mobile friendly, which, was this mobile friendly?
It would be more mobile friendly than our current one.
Right.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it would
if
be-
it's not mobile friendly, we need to move on.
Yeah. and
Because
it's-
everybody's working off the phones now, nobody's using the computers. When we found that out, you know, we had, 2 years ago, nobody was using our website because they couldn't see it on the phone without moving it all around. As soon as we went mobile friendly, you know, usage went up about 400%.
I guess that was part of my question, just is it up to all the stuff we need for the future? That was what I wanted to know.
Well, tell them what the future is.
All right.
Well, this company kind of specializes in working county municipalities and that sort of thing, so that, I mean, the firewalls and all that stuff different, or?
As
just-
far as any like security kind of topics, then, excuse me, Lloyd could address those, and we wouldn't want to address anything specific without an executive session where security is concerned. But in general terms, this particular option that we're looking at has some added security features from our current provider.
Okay. I guess that was the universal question to us, is there added features?
Yes.
And you said we're paying for maintenance from these 3 different ones that would go away?
No, the maintenance on this new site would be $3,000 a year for the first 3 years, and it would be subject to increase after that, just as the way that those
Cost
things
of
do.
living.
But we are paying $1,333.47 a month right now, maintenance, or excuse me, a year. And that's just for the basic website. We're also paying the $1479.18 for the treasurer's web tax, and then the $3,076.70 for the parcel search. So we're paying just under $6,000 a year for our current website with not the functionality that this new one would have, so.
And administrators and all that stay the same?
Yes.
Lloyd be the administrator, right?
Well, each office would have some controls over their
Okay.
pages, and our office does the majority of the administration for the rest of the site. And I wouldn't see any changes to that necessarily.
So we've been paying for that out of the AS 400 line item?
No, we've been paying that out of, each individual department pays for their maintenance each year. It's paid in at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. I'd have to look for that budget year.
But you said in there that the initial cost could be absorbed from treasurer's office?
Right, so we could either pay that conversion amount from we have a line item in our general fund that's designated for AS 400, which we haven't spent this year. It's $50,000. We will need to upgrade the AS 400 server next year. We thought it was gonna be this year, but it'll be next year. But the quotes I'm getting are like 27,000, so it wouldn't take that whole amount anyway. So we could pay it from there, or Janine had said that she would be willing to pay it from the vehicle department.
That's the 11,000.
The 11,000,
Under
correct.
the technology part of it, possible. Low preference.
Lloyd, do you have,
Yeah.
do you have anything specific that you want to say about this?
Yeah, I'm not going to be there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the Civics Plus has been really responsive. We've been looking at this for, probably going back to the previous election, 2018, especially election night. The performance has been really bad with the current host, and there are some security issues I'm concerned about. We'll discuss in open meeting that all the providers that we looked at as a replacement address immediately. Civics Plus, well, in fact, they sent me something this morning that they just converted Haskell County. I've got about a 15-page proposal from them that shows a number of counties that they did conversions on. Oh, that's it right there.
Yep.
Did conversions from some other counties that were with Thomson Reuters. So what I really liked was they were providing a lot of modules and optional modules. You're addressing mobile access, a lot of the things we're going to see down the road anyway. That was part of their features. Their development was pretty broad for the county government area. Civics Plus has been around a long time. We looked at another one that was pretty good, Rise Company last year. But you're paying a bit of a premium for a really good website and development, and then their guaranteed uptime and security components were top notch. So just everything clear across the board met everything that we were looking for. There was something else I was saying. Anyway, for the most part, I know. Their ability to make the conversion and bring our domain name. Right now, we don't own our domain name. It's owned by Thomson Reuters on Amento. We would own that again. That makes my life a little easier on the email side. And their ability to just handle that as part of the conversion, take that over, make the conversion, get our domain registrar moved. They kind of checked all the boxes. It was a pretty good bunch.
Lloyd, this is Dave.
Yeah.
Do they have a reporting system, like Google Analytics, or how many people visit? Zip code?
That's one thing I didn't check. I believe it's in there. I'm going to have to read it and confirm that. Because I did see something that kind of went through real quick on that. I'd have to double check. But I believe that is it.
Always interested to see who is looking at your webpage.
Yeah, we discussed that about hits and where they're coming from. I thought there was some mapping for it, if it was local or if it was, coming from other sites.
I didn't see anything.
I did double check. Any other questions?
I suppose reclaiming the domain name is a big portion of that initial cost.
That's only $5.
No.
No?
Well, actually, it's not. It's really a transfer, and then we have it. So we had to give Thomson Reuters notice to get that. Most of the development is in the development of the website and then individual departments. And I gave a heads up that if we go to this or go to anybody, Civics Plus particularly said, make sure you have your people available per department so we can tailor, what they want, like road bridge or appraisers or whatever, look and content, especially since we're trying to do this before election. So they made a point to make sure that we're available to do it on the development part. Most of it's really the development part setup. So
It does say Google Analytics are included.
Yeah. E-subscriber mailing list, social
Right
media
here.
integration.
What do we pay now a year, Tina, for our website?
Just under $6,000 that I was talking about earlier.
6,000 a year.
Yeah, it's for, we're paying $1,333 a year for maintenance, and then all of those other modules included, it's just under $6,000 a year.
Okay.
So we would still be paying for those other modules.
I'm not 100% sure. They didn't include those as their optional their optional modules on here. So parts of that is probably included in this.
Yeah, they probably just host them on their website, but you'd still have to pay the parent company for those programs.
The add-ons.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the
web tags and
tags
parcel
and the
search.
parcel
That could be
portion.
right, Dave.
Yeah.
They would give us that same capability to be able to continue to utilize those.
Usually the way it works.
So if we're looking at just the maintenance, the 1,333, we would be jumping to 3,000. So it's about double what if it's just those two being compared. But you're also getting the ADA compliance, the additional security, and the other services that we were looking for. So
Yeah, and
that's
security, mobile friendly is more
right.
important.
What was
the
that?
ADA compliance came up again and again and again last year with the other vendors and with them that the counties are it's being addressed, but folks are getting sued for not having ADA compliance on their website. So that's a key component of that. They were up to speed on it.
And then also the guaranteed uptime,
Oh,
which is something we
another
don't have now.
Yeah, there's another piece, but it's part of security. So it will be better. So.
Okay. Thoughts of the commission?
I say we go with it.
Motion?
I'll make a motion that we transition the county's website from Momentum to Civics Plus in Manhattan. The cost of $11,000 to be paid out of the AS400 line item budget.
Also, you have to include the extra 3,000, so it's an initial 14.
Well, annual maintenance is 3,000, but that's gonna be a yearly thing.
Yeah, but I believe.
But
it's-
including the 3,000.
Yeah, yeah, I believe the agreement states 7,000 now, 7,000, 120 days from now. You still okay with that in the motion?
Pardon me?
What did you say?
7,000 now, and then it's 7,000 and 120 days.
So we would pay the 11,000
14.
plus the first year maintenance this
Right.
first year.
All
Right.
up front.
So it's 11,000, 3,000 makes 14,
Right.
split it in half.
And then we would have 2 more years of maintenance in a year, and then the next year for the
So they
3,000.
want 7,000 up front before they get started, basically. Okay.
I
But
just wanna
are
make sure
you
that-
are you including the total of 14,000 in your motion for the,
Yes, 14.
Thank you.
11,000 plus 3,000 maintenance.
okay.
Now,
I'll second it.
second, Dave, other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
I said aye.
Oh.
I was the one that seconded it the first time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, put Diane.
That's
down.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Lloyd, I have a question.
Yep.
Have
Sign the
you
agreement.
gone out and purchased other domain names on .org, .net, .com? All the other ones that are available in Marion County? So if somebody
We've
else-
looked at a couple. We've looked at a couple, we haven't pulled the trigger on them, probably should gobble them up. We've discussed that as an alternative, just a backup in an emergency,
I mean,
but we don't own any others right now.
That's just so somebody else won't get them and use them.
Good point.
It's good business to either $5 a piece.
Yep. It'd be pretty cheap to do, and
Yeah.
so there's one in particular. We may go ahead and do that.
You know, it's just, since it's good business,
Yeah, I agree.
you don't know what crazy people will do, try to copy it.
There's a lot of crazy people out there pushing real hard right now. I can vouch for that.
You know, every time we do a website, we buy about 5 other names and we'll post anything close to it.
Yep. It'd be best to reserve all those
Yes,
and privatize them.
yes.
So,
Okay. All right. I think that's all there was for that. Anybody else got any questions for Lloyd? If not, I'll go ahead and close that portion of the meeting.
thank you.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Good luck.
Brad said if you all want to talk to him, that I just need to text him and he'll jump back on here, so.
Okay. You talked to him this week, or?
I just wanted to pass some information to him.
Okay.
I guess I would really need to, just tell him to email what he emailed me to all the other commissions.
Okay.
All right, then I'll go ahead and go to the public comments. Nobody in the room.
I'm gonna get my phone and just make sure I don't have any other
Right.
messages.
Jesse Hopkins with the expedition man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't.
One thing I got, I think was already discussed. Kent was talking about the, what was it? Nursing homes.
Nursing home.
Yeah. That's the only thing I got. All right, close the public comments. Commission comments. Anybody got a commission comment? I got one. I know a while ago, the website made me think of it. So, it's the bus out here. We had talked about the bus, and doing something with it, and the reason why the website made me think of it is because you talked about buying up the other ones, because the website's wrong. So, did we ever make a decision? Did we?
The decision you made on the bus was for us to offer it to nonprofits. I was trying to get the language that we needed to be able to do that.
Okay.
I would really wish that you would just make a decision to sell it on Purple Wave, and if they decide they want to buy it, or to do sealed bids on it, and just
Okay.
put it in the newspaper. And then if somebody wants it, even a nonprofit, they could bid on it.
Right.
I mean,
I'd make the motion to list the bus on Purple Wave and sell it to whoever
Okay.
has the most money.
Right. I'll second that.
Put a minimum bid of $50.
I'm not gonna. You wanna put a minimum on it? Oh,
No.
okay. All right. Okay. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Thank you. I'll mark that off my list. It's been on there a long time
Well,
bothering me.
I seen it last week and I was just like,
Yeah, there's some
You know,
specific things.
my
we would
wife
have-
was behind getting that vote. She's the one that got it painted and no one decorated it up. So she may not be happy.
Uh-oh.
So,
The only comment I have, and that goes back to the transfer station. I think that the engineer needs to be more transparent with us and because we didn't know what we've got left to do cost-wise and what we have available to pay it with. I mean, I think maybe we can figure it out, but what we're paying him, he needs to, that information needs to follow.
okay. That's good. Anything else? All right.
There's a comment, I don't know
Oh.
if you saw, it just came in. Of course, you already closed public comment.
Yeah, I did
but,
close public. But
there's a comment on the chat from Jesse Hopkins Hole to, I think to me,
Yeah, it's to you.
possibly. It says, happy
It's
to
not to
give
me.
a brief update on expedition related to construction if anyone wants.
Anybody would like that?
Yeah,
I
I
would
think
like
so.
it, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna get an update from Jesse on Expedition Wind.
Hi, everyone.
On
Can you
it.
hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So I apologize. I missed earlier. I know that there was a little bit of discussion with Bryce about the project, and I wanted to make sure that I hopped on and just gave you a little sense of where we're at. We had scheduled for a check-in meeting with him this week, and unfortunately, we've got an RFP proposal that we've got to get to on Wednesday. It's probably going to take all my time, so I got to reschedule that. But what I will say is that we are pleased to be moving into contracting with a construction company. It's not final yet, and we're just started the negotiation with them. So our timelines are gonna start to get a little bit more firm moving forward. But I think the discussion was that we've got a November start date. We don't at this stage. We have asked these construction companies to propose to provide their proposal that fits into a schedule that at the time included this November date, but I think we're going to be too tight to get started quite about then. But we are moving into late stage design, starting to hammer out the construction schedule, and expect to be coming forward with the roads working group, to kick all that off here, hopefully within the next month or so. And then also going along with that will be our local subcontractor and labor open house. So just wanted to give you an update, working through all the details on that stuff. Want to make sure that we understand the upgrades on public roads that we can, based on what the direction that I can get from Bryce will be, and start to have a full active dialogue and discussion on where that stuff goes from here. We do not have any final design on transportation routes or anything like that yet, but we will be arriving at that fairly soon. And excited to be at the stage that we're at and keep you all in the loop. But just didn't want to give you the impression that we've got a firm schedule, a firm design, and understand that this stuff is still in a state of flux at the moment.
So just to be clear, you're saying that there won't be a meeting on Wednesday?
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to reschedule that. And really it was designed to just get an understanding of schedules that the county's working on. I know that there's some discussion around Nighthawk and the potential upgrades that are going to occur there from the county side, and whether or not they're available for us to use or what we have to do to work that out. But we will reschedule that conversation for sure. But this week, at least early in the week, my submittal to this RFP for another project is actually due Wednesday afternoon, so it's going to knock me out on that day.
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
I do. I just want to ask one question. Now that do we have any other, Tina, we don't have any other applicants for the appraiser's position,
Are
do
you
we?
talking to Jesse?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought you were just asked for any
No,
more
no, we
comments on
can
the
get to
commission.
that. We can get to that. Are we done with Jesse?
No, I'm done with
No,
Jesse.
okay.
Sorry,
Thank you. Thank you, Jesse.
I can't.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
I
Okay.
have not received any new applications since the last round that you all saw.
Okay, so having asked that question then, so what is gonna be the timeline for the commission then to discuss the applicants and make a decision?
Next meeting.
Want to go that quick, or do you want to leave it open?
Why would we wanna wait? I mean, I'd like.
Would you like me to schedule some time on payday for you to have some discussion as a board? Okay,
Yes.
we'll do that.
We don't meet Monday, we'll meet on Wednesday.
Correct, no meeting Monday.
That's soon, right?
Yeah. If it falls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we only have one meeting that week. If it falls Thursday, Friday, we have two.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Close commission comments and we'll do this performance review that we had to put off to this week from last week.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it'd be executive.
Yes.
Employee performance review.
Yes.
Yeah. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 1, personal matters, non-elected personnel, for employee performance review for, what do you think, 30, 25?
Don't need that much, do we?
You want to start with 15 or 20, and then you can always add.
15.
15 minutes. With the board pursuant to KSA 75-4319.
Second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, so it looks like be back at 12:55. Okay.
What's out in that aspect?
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Out of executive session, no action taken. This time, move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 1, employee personnel, non-elected employees, employment review for a matter of 10 minutes with the board pursuant to KSA 75-43 19B.
Great job. Second.
Oh, second. All those in favor?
Aye. He was proud of his acknowledgement, or his accomplishment there.
Picking on me.
He did good.
Okay, back at 108.
It's a more money, yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Out of executive session, no action taken.
something.
Okay. Everybody?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 1, personal matters of non-elected personnel for
And
employment review, performance review.
second.
For 10 minutes with the board pursuant to KSA 75-4319.
How about
Still
asking
got a
Tina
second?
to stay in here with this?
Tina?
Just so we make sure we're on the right track of pay here?
Yeah, there was, okay. I will include Tina in my motion.
Yeah.
Still got a second?
Yes.
Still got a second by Randy? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, so we'll be back at 1:22.
Yeah.
Boy, he had the shifts and didn't show up for work today.
Camera's on. And meeting's coming on now.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a second by Tom. I got you in on the one that mattered.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm hungry today, so I'm ready to go.